How do we improve the life chances for disadvantaged students? How do we improve our schools so that everyone's attainment rises? The answer for us in 2021 stared us in the face. It was our already begun work on improving literacy. Starting by reflecting on the key texts by Hoxman and Wexler, The Writing Revolution, Doug Lemov's Reading Reconsidered, and the EEF Secondary Literacy Guidance Report, we developed an implementation plan that looked at how to build a whole school disciplinary approach to the explicit teaching of writing. This plan was built on the central concept that knowledge acquisition is key, and as such a disciplinary approach is essential for success. We know students from disadvantaged backgrounds are less likely to be exposed to this knowledge and vocabulary at home, and are therefore less likely to be able to access more complex texts. It therefore stares us in the face that to improve literacy, as outlined by the guidance report's first and fifth recommendations, we must take an approach that is built on the disciplines. The challenge for any school when introducing a school-wide approach is fidelity, and before this, acceptance of the approach to literacy. It was relatively easy to get all staff on board once we looked at the evidence from Shanahan on disciplinary literacy or Beck on vocabulary, and saw how a focus on literacy, and in particular writing, would develop a curriculum that firstly builds knowledge of the subject domains while simultaneously developing students' comprehension as well as grammar and syntax, because it starts at the sentence level. We can, for example, quickly show teachers how using multi-clausal sentences demonstrates relationships between two ideas: cause, consequence, contrast. Inset days and CPD sessions have at times been whole school, but they have always retained a disciplinary level. Therefore, when we modelled practice, one of our key PD mechanisms, we did so through faculty-specific examples. Cognitive science has helped us understand the link between writing and memory. Firstly, the retrieval effect is a central component of writing. Students constantly attend to information in their long-term memory when writing, thereby strengthening these memory traces. Secondly, the protégé effect suggests that when you explain something to others, it boosts retention and comprehension because you're being forced to think deeply about it. One of the key initial ideas for staff to understand is the sheer complexity of the writing process, and therefore how quickly it can overload working memory due to its intrinsic load. Students need to think about spelling, punctuation, word choice, including Tier 3 vocabulary, syntax, grammar, sequencing, as well as the content. So it's easy to see how quickly a novice can become overloaded. We therefore need to lighten the cognitive load by starting at the sentence level. A good idea is to use stop and jots to help reduce the space in working memory taken up by the content, allowing students to focus on their sentence structure. Because we understand how complex the writing process is, we understand that we shouldn't ask students to write at length from the get-go. Instead, we explicitly teach them the building blocks of writing. Our approach to improving writing started at the sentence level. We began with a session examining sentences, fragments and clauses, which resulted in us working on coordinating and subordinating conjunctions led by our own language experts. The modelling, trial and use by all staff of because but so as a technique was crucial and was followed up at a faculty level 2 weeks later, by which time all staff had trialled it in a lesson. We ensured examples were always shared through the discipline so that teachers never felt this was the English department's job. The advantages of the sentence level approach, though, became quickly evident as it clearly reduces cognitive load and allows you to check comprehension as well as syntax and grammar. Interestingly, our next session managed the cognitive load of staff effectively by revisiting and remodelling the techniques, such as using U-turn conjunctions. Challenging tasks such as identifying non-examples were used with the staff to really get everyone thinking about which conjunctions are needed to make the sentence make sense. So you'll have heard me talking about managing cognitive load, CPD sessions, the use of experts modelling and use of non-examples, and ensuring teacher use of the strategies. Now, these are all part of our implementation plan, which gave teachers real clarity on the active ingredients. We incorporated this work into our staff training sessions that are punctuated throughout the year and incorporated it into our disciplined inquiry approach to PD, whereby all staff have an hour a fortnight off timetable to read, observe and engage in research. It is through this very deliberate process that we have found a way to improve the life chances of our disadvantaged students.